I'd like to thank Darren Fisher, Robbie Britton and Jamie Ennis for being on our panel this morning. Really good to have, people with the sort of right background for the content area we've got this morning. Thank Geelong for hosting it. Mark Pearce and David for hosting it. Thanks very much for that. It's always nice to get down to Geelong. We were actually here just recently with the Gap Day, so we're coming down to Geelong a fair bit, Mark. Thanks very much. So this is the racing program and grading workshop. I just want to now reflect a little bit on the workshops just to give you a bit of confidence about the content coming out of the workshops. Clearly, GRV has got things in front of us still to do. The industry's got things in front of us still to do. I give you an undertaking that all the material that we're accumulating through these workshops will be useful, will be considered, and will be put into the various processes that we have going.
Now that was an interesting session, a lot of points coming up. What are the key issues do you think that need to be ironed out with the grading system?
I think first of all, I think we've got the best system in Australia in the drop back system where you win a race, you have two on place and you drop back, and I think that's a very good system. We don't want to throw that away. I think the system where we may have a ranking system is worth looking at, and it may just get rid of tier racing and have a ranking system so that everyone's in the same pool. Sounds like a pretty good suggestion. It's just a matter of seeing how it works, I guess. But what it might do is that dog that's gone through and been a good dog over time, and then he's on the downslide. He may be more competitive if he's allowed to race against lesser dogs. In all reality, there's only so many spots for the dogs, so someone has got to miss out if you've got more dogs. But again, right at the moment, we tend to have too many short course dogs or lower class dogs and not enough dogs run over 500 or further. But again, it's a matter of getting that grading system right so more dogs can compete right through the levels. It's a bottleneck at the moment with tier 3s. I don't think anyone really had the right answer to that today, but it's something we've got to work on to make sure we can get some of those dogs into the mainstream arena, if that means having heats and finals on higher class meetings for that type of dog. But we have to smooth it out so that we don't have 40% of the dogs in tier 3 missing a start. We've got to focus on animal welfare first, and that if that means grading can keep a dog longer in the system, if it can not crucify him by throwing him into a grade where he's not good enough, or the fact that we provide a start for them where at the moment they struggle to get a start. All those things are animal welfare issue in the long term.
First up, what's your view of how the grading system is working now?
It's not making too bad. We've got a inconsistency there with tier 3 and the normal grading. You've got two grading systems in Victoria. One's points allocated and one's times allocated. So we've got to try and amalgamate both of them.
There's a bit of a bottleneck with tier 3 though, isn't there?
There's a big bottleneck there because the gap's too big. It's as simple as that, and a lot of people, tier 3 trainers, don't want to go to the provincial meetings, and when they do break the time standards, well, they're that disappointed that they can't go back to tier 3 until they run their outs. So I don't think we look after our good young dogs enough. I think we're too quick to upgrade them, especially this day and age where we really need something to promote the grain industry. Good young dogs coming through, we can promote them, get people back to the tracks and stuff like that, yeah.
Are there other little ideas that you'd like to see introduced, like trials at meetings and so on?
Yeah, look, in Queensland years ago, they used to have, before the meeting, they used to have two maiden races, non-TAB races, that the first four went through to a final the following week. It could work for grades 6 and 7. That's where these dogs, maidens and that don't get a start, they'll get a start. We can push more dogs through the system and get more dogs into the grading system, and then we have the overflow right through there.
It's all about getting more dogs a chance to run, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what the industry is. More dogs a chance to run, more dogs a chance to make money, and then once they're finished, more dogs to be rehomed. That's the whole issue that we're dealing with in Victoria.
And it is all about animal welfare, isn't it?
It is. That's why we've got to get this grading right with young dogs and that aren't pushed up too quick, that are inexperienced, and we've got to look through. It's all right to look after the dogs when they finish racing, but it's during their racing time that we've got to look after them and try and protect them as well.
How do you think the grading system is working at the moment?
I think the grading system in Victoria is pretty good for what they've got set up and put into place. It's a pretty good scenario. My personal opinion, I think the rating system would be a better system, but obviously there's going to have to be a few changes to put a system in place to be like that. But otherwise, I think we've got most states covered. I'm not a fan of Tier 3 racing. I think the rating system would give them more of a chance to race on a more sort of consistent sort of stage, and it would sort of free up more nominations and things like that. So I think it's definitely well worth looking into.